And I never really got along with the buggy guys, the rectifiers, right, which everyone uses for metal. I don't know. There's some frequency in that amp that doesn't work for my ear. I really like the triacs. I played for many years with the triacs, but it has nothing to do with the rectifiers. What, right? Do you know that preamp from Buggy, Triaxis? It's a preamp. It's tube-based, but with all parameters, digitally controlled, right? A one-space preamp, but it has 4 channels. Each channel has 3 voices. So, man, the sound just never ends. I also worked with Boogie's Power Stereo 290 tube-based and a cabinet, 2 Marshall cabinets, right. That was also Infernal. That is real sound. I recorded a lot with it, too.
But now, do you take the KEMPER to the show as well?
I do, and many times I don't take the KEMPER. Sometimes I take some small pedal boards, right. And the impulse response. When it's a gig like, you know, catching a flight, the guys don't even want to pay for luggage, right? I'm not going to carry the KEMPER to play. Sometimes I don't know. In the middle now of nowhere. I'm not going to mention any city names to avoid being accused of prejudice, but to play in the middle of nowhere and have to carry expensive gear on my back, then I travel with the smallest pedal board possible. I'm traveling, I've been working with Zoom for many years, but I chose a small pedal board, which isn't even a sponsorship. But I researched, tested, liked it a lot, and it's very practical for traveling, which is a Headrush MX5.
This one? Oh.
Red Rush?
I don't know it, man.
It can be this size, like this.
Red Rush? Is that the brand?
The brand is Red Rush. It's American. Red Rush.
Next 5. MX. I think, I'm seeing it here. Is it one of these here?
Yes. And it has an expression pedal. It works with scenes. Its processor can handle you putting about 12, 14 effects together. And I use just one scene for the entire show with all the effects within the same preset.
Show it to the people, okay?
And each switch has 2 scenes, so I have 6 scenes within the same preset. That's what I use for the entire show.
And it's cool that on its display you can see the little pedals, right?
Exactly. And the scenes are great because there's no delay in the scene, right, man? And it doesn't cut the delay. There's no lag from clean to dirty, no lag from dirty to lead, from crunch to lead. And it even has the little expression pedal from Nelson Nerd, of course, right? It's Nelson Neri's pedal board, right, man? Pedal board for sure. But, man, for those trips, we sometimes when you're a bit hesitant, it's a very reliable piece of equipment. And is its clean sound good, too? The clean sound is nice. It has some very good clean amplifiers. Man, but obviously it's not a KEMPER, right? It's not a fractal, right? It's far from being one. Not far, but it's not right. It doesn't work with that concept. It doesn't work with that profile concept, right? It's an emulator. But it's a very honest emulator. Very honest. And how do I use it? I send the out to the return of an amp. So I always ask for a Marshall cabinet. Send it to the return of a JCM 900. And it has a global equalizer on the output. So if sometimes it's too bright or lacks bass, I adjust the output without necessarily changing the preset. And I manage well there. And it carries an impulse response. From AMT, a Russian company, a little box this size, where I have 100 impulse responses there of my own impulses, right? Because it has impulse response, but unfortunately you either work with it on or off. You can't use one output with it on and another with it off, which would be ideal. You have 2 stereo outputs, you send, that would be ideal, right? Here's a tip for the guys, right? Send the L with the possibility of the impulse on and the R with the possibility of the impulse off. Then you send one to the line with the pedal's own impulse and the other to your amp. Since you can't turn it off, since you can't separate it, then take the separate impulse, which helps a lot sometimes. The type of speaker you send to the PA sometimes sounds much better than a microphone in front of the speaker, especially if the speaker you have is not good. And then sometimes on stage, even if it doesn't sound great to you, but it sounds better to the audience. That's what matters.
A lot of people are using it this way. Simbinya here, man, was here yesterday, and he was saying that currently he's going to connect. What is he connecting? Which is GT? No, it's GE300, right? That he uses the amplifier just for monitoring, right?
Now, another really cool system that I use occasionally is that K Multimedia Tonics.
Wow, tonics.
Tonics, then the amp sounds are already real, right? It's a type of capture as well, like a KEMPER profile with good quality. And then the problem is that it doesn't have delay, it doesn't have chorus, so if you need that, you'll have to add something else. It's small, you know it, right? It's small, so... But depending on the situation, you might just take it alone because it also has a little reverb, a noise gate. Sometimes, because the drives can sometimes have a lot of hum, especially if you use a lot of high gain. But sometimes it lacks a little delay, a little chorus or a small boost pedal, right? So sometimes you start, it's nice, but to make it really nice, you need to add more stuff here. Then when you look, it's no longer... So where does the head rush come in? The head rush, man, the pedal board isn't, right?
No, it's really this small, right? Yeah, man, it is. Yeah, very practical. You carry it in your backpack, right?
The problem is that sometimes when you go to switch, you step on a switch, you step on both together, right? Bye.
The one who said he does that a lot is Digon from Raimundo. Those guys, man, that size. When he goes to press one, he said, man, for me, it has to be spaced out.
And the volume pedal is this size, right, man?
What is that? Digon weighs 120 kilos. Despite that, something like this breaks.
You know, I'll tell you, man, it's the best sound in the world. Oh, it's a great solution when you need to travel and you can't carry a lot of stuff because the KEMPER is that rack standard with power. It's heavy. And the controller is even heavier. I have to take the controller. This controller, it weighs more than the KEMPER. It's made of iron right. But I'll tell you, man, I've had it for 10 years and it's the same. The Germans don't mess around, man. The equipment is 10 years old and it's still the same. Actually, it's getting better and better because they keep doing updates. They never stop updating, right?
And it's funny that the hardware doesn't need to be modified, right?
Yes.
They managed to keep the same hardware.
They already had that foresight, right? They already made hardware that could be updated for years. I have an A8. This equipment must be 10 years old, man.
Do you have Fractal?
No. I've already been in contact with the guys from Fractal. I would like to have it, but at the time they wanted exclusivity. I had the KEMPER, I had the Zoom, I had other partners, right? And they also use things from Inventite, which is from another partner, the same guy who brings KEMPER. Then he said, man, but you have to stop using everything. I said, man, unfortunately, I would love to use it, but you know, you are 20-year partners. Am I going to leave my 20-year partners adventure? Then suddenly our partnership lasts 6 months, right? And then what do? I call the guys, oh, sorry about that. My bad, right?
My bad. It's almost like someone got married, has been married for 20 years, meets a young girl, regrets it 6 months later and wants to go back to his wife.
That's not how it works, right, man?